Yes. All right, Mr. Chair, I see that our live stream is on. You may call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Director. Hapaday, good afternoon, everybody. This is the regular meeting of the Guam Ethics Commission. Call to order today, Friday, December 29th, 2023 at 7 minutes after 1 p.m. Let's go ahead and move forward into the agenda. If I can ask the Director to go ahead and call roll.
Of course. Chairman Christopher Cruz,
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Margaret Takenko, Commissioner Marilyn Borja, Commissioner Dr. Robert Jack, Commissioner Shannon Murphy, and for the record, Commissioner Daphne Leon Guerrero had sent a note that she will be arriving late, but with 5 members present, Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Let's go and move to item number 2, the review and approval of the minutes for our last meeting. That was September 29th, 2023. We could just have the commissioners take a moment. And if all is in order, if I can get a motion to approve our minutes again stated for September 29th of this year. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving our minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Back to you, Director, for your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And at any time, if the commission feels that they'd like to pose a question, you're welcome to at least call for my attention, and I'm happy to pause. So I'd like to start with an ethics training update. To begin, we have a few workshops that were conducted since our last commission meeting report in September. So as you see the numbers listed there, for the month of October, we had 148 participants complete a live workshop with 346 participants who completed online, bringing our total for October at 494. In November, there was no live workshop, but we continued to see completions received online through our website at 153. So the total for November was 153. And then in December, we had one workshop with 115 participants. And then as of today, another 94 online, bringing that total to 209. So for the last quarter, we were able to see about 840 plus participants that successfully completed their ethics workshop. Again, we continue to make excellent progress in meeting the statutory goal of having all employees trained by, I believe it's May of 2024. The next item is the new financial management information system. So for a long time, the government of Guam had been using an antiquated AS400. So they had issued, I guess, a solicitation and notifications of employment. All of this is now going to be web-based, so it's going to streamline and be easier. This required our team to get access. We'd have to attend several trainings of modules. So we successfully fulfilled all of that, and we're excited to use November. We received communication from OPA extending an invitation from our office to provide recommendations for the public auditor to consider as for audit topics in 2024. Now, I did confer with the chair And I thought it a good idea to suggest or to recommend that the Ethics Commission be a topic for a performance audit. So there are two types of audits that are typically conducted by this office. The first is financial audits, which is an assessment of the numbers in the books to make sure that they're accurate. We set up with the right standard operating procedures? Are we doing things from their perspective? Okay. We're gonna take a minute. Apologies for that. We wanted to make sure the recording was being conducted. And so in a nutshell, I had a conversation with the chair and I said, audits are not fun and definitely not something you voluntarily request for. But I found that it would come as a benefit for the commission if we got an independent outsider's perspective as to how the commission is utilizing the government resources afforded to it, and then to account if we are meeting the goals set by the commission and also set by the legislature and as far as our statutory requirements and how well are we performing in that manner. So I wrote a letter to the public auditor formally requesting consideration that the janitorial contracts as well as our website maintenance are projected or funded there. We have our lease renewal for the 4 months of our second year, which will come up, I believe, in June of 2024. You have supplies, which include the folders, envelopes, and certificates at 10,000. And then you have our miscellaneous expenditures, which include the meeting ads, our stipends for commissioners who attend the meeting, procurement training, which is required by statute, and then postage for complaints that we need to transmit decisions or orders from the commission over to a complainant. And then the last one is our telephone, which we had issued out a bid. So we had reserved the anticipated costs for awarding the bid contract. What isn't displayed here, but eventually we're going to encumber, there are going to be some unanticipated expenditures that we need to make, so we'll make some adjustment. I think one that comes up in my mind is the Guam legislature recently enacted a requirement that all government and Guam offices maintain an automated external defibrillator, so an AED. And I believe that they were anticipating government offices to put in a request for the purchase of this AED in the 2025 budget. But we may be able to make that purchase this fiscal year. And then, yeah. So we have a new mandate that was just enacted, I think within this past session, that every government office will need to carry this AED device. So as long as we're servicing customers, this allows an opportunity for us to provide life-saving maneuvers if in the event a customer or one of the staff members has a medical emergency. We do, yeah. We do. So we'll explore other than the purchase of the machine. I believe that the statute went as far as identifying Guam Fire Department as taking the lead, and they will coordinate the respective trainings. And I imagine they probably extend an invitation to our office to participate in said training so that we'd have officials within that are capable of administering. But I also know that the devices today are simpler. They come with large numbers and images, and I believe it's 3 numbers. So you put number 1 in this position, number 2 in another, and then you press the button. And so, in any case, I think we are anticipating that we'll get through the training. But this essentially covers the budget, and that you get a sense of what has been expended to date, and then what we expect to expend for all the other categories based on the footnotes, and then the bottom line, that there's still opportunities to expend additional funds depending on what might arise that we haven't planned or accounted for. There isn't, and that's a great question. So we typically do our best to spend all of our appropriations. They're still trying to reconcile our accounts, but our internal records reflect that we probably may have returned about $2,000, and that primarily was encumbrances from a legal contract that was not expended. So we just didn't use the lawyer as much that we could have or that we had encumbered. We didn't receive a continuing appropriation clause, which gives us authority to spend a prior fiscal year's budget into this fiscal year. So whatever money was not used gets returned back to the general fund, and then they could use it for other purposes. But I think relatively speaking, it's shown prudence on our part that we're able to use to the greatest extent all the resources that we require. And then we're projecting to make the same within fiscal year 2024. Are there any other questions that might be able to answer? Yeah, sure.
What about the funds that we bring in for teaching? Yeah, for paying instructors?
Yes. So those balances continue to exist in exactly that. We have cut purchase orders for our facilitators. We have 3 on contract, and those funds go to that, but they also pay for our training venues. And because we're increasing the capacity, we have to find venues that are able to accommodate those large numbers of participants. And so every venue that we try to go government first. And for a little bit, we were able to use the Sinahanya Community Center for free. That's since changed. They've given us an updated pricing. And so now that we're being charged hourly. And then also the University of Guam, the Guam Community College, they've all been contacted and we are in talks to use each venue. Just this past September, we had to use the Westin because none of the government offices were available during that particular month. And then GCC had just opened up their multi-purpose room, but they didn't yet have equipment. So no mics, no projectors, and we needed to have a facility that was set up and then have the AV equipment for us to conduct these workshops. We did. It was just recently that we're waiting for confirmation that their AC chiller had been repaired. Yeah, but we use every GovOne facility that we can think of to see if we might be able to get support there. And then it's at the very last resort do we explore in the private side what might be able to be available for us, just because of the cost. We're trying to contain costs. But that essentially sums up the report, but excellent question on that one.
Which is the paddle loop and the big laddie stuff. There's a big room upstairs and a chair. Yeah, I don't know if the elevator works. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Right.
So you have to have the elevator working because it's like
Yes.
real silly to go up and down.
And I think too, we look for venues that they're able to support us if we have AV issues, that they have an AV technician on hand, or if they have a staff member that could be present to set up, GCC, for example, we had to set up the chairs. So that was and then they didn't have the room available for us any day before the event. So we had to arrive really early to set up the chairs. And there were some conversations we were having where maybe when they come and check in, they'll sign in and they say, please proceed to the end of the corridor and pick up your chair and set it up. But those are minor things we're able to find out, what works. Eventually, if the cost becomes too great, I would maybe suggest or bring up to the commission a consideration of expanding our footprint for office space so that we can just host these workshops in-house instead of having to go outside and rent elsewhere. But for now, the numbers support us continuing to do the external renting. But if the frequency starts to pick up and we save more money by having our own space, I'll present it to the commission. Mm. That's a good GDOE. That's a great question. It depends. I do need to talk with Department of Education if they would allow us to have those type of activities while school's in session. I know that GDOE main office has a large enough facility that you did an ethics training at before coming on board. So that might be an option for us. We'll need to explore. Yeah. But great suggestion. Any other questions? No? And just note that a lot of my reports also littered in the other items of the agenda, like the SOPs and the policies. And so I didn't want to repeat myself throughout the meeting. So I just took out what wasn't going to be covered later on, and then we'll have those continuing conversations as we get to those agenda items.
Can I just ask, what was the amount that we took in training? Do you guys know that offhand?
We can get that number just for this most recent fiscal year.
Yeah.
So I can say, and I'm glad you asked that question. because it's actually going to be discussed on our policy concerning the establishing of the training fee. We have a report on what was collected and then a consideration for the commission, which is whether or not they want to adjust the fee. 'Cause I don't know if the chair wanted me to discuss that now, but we have that information. When the commission had established this training fee at the beginning, there was a requirement that the executive director prepare a report of the total funds collected and then what was expended. So we'll pull up another copy and share that with you. And we give that report once a year. So this last one was given during, I think, our May or summer session. So we should be doing our next annual report in May, but I can show you the latest numbers we have. For as of today, with this fiscal year, there's the number billed and then the number collected. So they're different. We do have aged finances or folks that owe the commission some training fees. So that's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director. Again, commissioners, anything else for the director based on his report? All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and move forward to item 4 of our agenda. That's closed proceedings. I'm gonna need a motion to enter into closed proceedings.
A motion to.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of moving into item 4, closed proceedings? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. We will be moving into closed proceedings. Thank you. All right, and we are back from closed session and back into our open meeting. Again, it is still Friday, December 29th, and it is 2:51 in the afternoon. For the record, Dr. Robert Jack had to leave the meeting, but we do have Commissioner Daphne Langaro with us now. So moving forward on our agenda, item 5, new business. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll go ahead and start reading into the record, starting with case number ETH 23-120-OT-202. And may I just state for the staff and for the chair, you can omit the dashes when you're reading the number out. That will just save you a little bit of trouble.
The first case the commission will hear is ETH 23-120-OT-202. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after a review of the complaint, found with majority vote the commission does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics case number ETH 23-120-OT-202 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401B and C.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the draft order on case ETH 23-120-OT-202?
Motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. The next case the commission will hear is ETH 23-121-UT-201. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after review of the complaint, found with majority vote the commission does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics case number ETH 23-121-UT-201 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to the complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401B and C.
Can I get a motion to adopt the draft order on case ETH 23-121-UT-201? Can I get a second? Perfect. Any further discussion? Hearing. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next case the commission will hear is ETH 23-122-UT-201. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This one will be a resolution. Resolution number 2023-003. Commission authority to subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, and take testimony relating to matters before the commission, and require the production for examination of any books, papers, or electronic records relative to any matter under investigation or in question before the commission in regards to case number ETH 23-122-UT-201, whereas the Guam Ethics Commission under Chapter 15, Title 4 Guam Code Annotated is authorized and empowered to, among other things, initiate, receive, and consider charges concerning alleged violations of Chapter 15, and to initiate or make investigations and hold hearings to decide violations of ethics standards. And whereas on August 6, 2023, a complaint was filed with the commission against an employee as defined by 4 GCA 15102D, who is or was employed at an agency defined by 15102K, and whereas the complaint alleges violations that possibly occurred within 3 years of the date of this resolution, and whereas Executive Director has reviewed the allegation and recommends that the commission take jurisdiction over the complaint because the actions described in it alleges a violation of ethical standards, namely 4 GCA 15204 fair treatment, and whereas at a public meeting held by the Commission on December 29, 2023, the Commission in confidence examined the complaint, now therefore be it resolved. The Commission, through a vote of 5 or more members present at a publicly announced open meeting, and in this resolution 2023-003 exercises jurisdiction over the case identified above, and be it further resolved pursuant to 4 GCA 15401, the Commission shall investigate whether the employee identified in complaint number ETH 23-122-UT-21 did violate the ethics standards found at 4 GCA 15204, and be it further resolved, the Commission, having identified the nature and scope of its inquiry, hereby invokes the authority granted to it pursuant to 4 GCA 15401 to inter alia subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, and take testimony relating to matters before the Commission, and require the production for examination of any books, papers, or electronic records relative to any matter under investigation or in question before the Commission, and be it further resolved, the Commission shall comply with 4 GCA 15401B to investigate all charges on a confidential basis. No information may be divulged except as permitted by 4 GCA Chapter 15.
Can I get a motion to adopt the notification letter? Is that correct? I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Can I get a motion to adopt the resolution on case number ETH 23-122-UT-201?
Motion to adopt.
Resolution.
Is there a second? All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next case the Commission will hear is ETH 23-123-OT-202. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after review of the complaint, found by majority vote the Commission does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics case number ETH 23-123-OT-202 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to the complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401B and C.
Again, can I get a motion? I'm sorry. Can I get a motion to adopt the draft order on case ETH 23-123-OT-202? Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next case the Commission will hear is ETH 23-124-OT-202. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after a review of the complaint, found by majority vote the Commission does not have jurisdiction to pursue this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics case number ETH 23-124-OT-202 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to the complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401B and C.
Can I get a motion to adopt the draft order for case ETH 23-124-OT-202? Any second? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next case the Commission will hear is ETH 23-125-OT-202. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after a review of the complaint found by majority vote, the Commission does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics case number ETH 23-125-OT, ETH 23-125-OT-202 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to the complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401B and C.
Can I get a motion to adopt the draft order on case ETH 23-125-OT-202? Thank you. Any second? Perfect. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next case the commission will hear is ETH 23-126-OT-202. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after a review of the complaint found by majority vote, the commission does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics Case Number ETH 23-126-OT-202 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to the complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401 B and C.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adopt draft order on case ETH 23-126-OT-202? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next case, the last case the commission will hear is ETH 23-127-OT-201. Can the staff please read the draft order?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 29, 2023, this matter came before the Guam Ethics Commission, who, after a review of the complaint found by majority vote, the commission does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that Guam Ethics Case Number ETH 23-127-OT-201 shall be dismissed, and all records and deliberations relating to the complaint herein shall remain confidential pursuant to 4 GCA 15401 B and C.
Can I get a motion to adopt for case ETH 23-127-OT-201? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously to adopt the draft order for ETH 23-127-OT-201. Thank you. All right, and we'll move down again. Item 5B. I'll turn things over to our director one more time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will pass this over to our Ethics Investigation Compliance Officer, Pam Abasa, who's going to read the request received from Department of Public Health and Social Services and then the draft opinion.
Thank you, sir. On December 1st, Mr. Chad Paloma, who is with the Division of Senior Citizens, had sent us an email requesting for guidance on the appropriateness of attending a partnering agency, which is Mayor Councils of Guam, to attend their Christmas party. And so he just disclosed that the Senior Citizens Division have an MOU with the Mayor's Council of Guam, where they provide funding to the Mayor's Council to run the Senior Citizens Operations Program for 12 of the Senior Citizens Centers here on Guam. And so Attorney Heighton had given us her opinion, advisory opinion, a legal counsel, advising not to engage in the party because based on our provisions of gifts, which says that no employee shall solicit or accept or receive directly or indirectly any gifts valued singly or in an aggregate of $200, wherein the money, price, service, loan, travel, entertainment, or anything promised when a reasonable person would infer that the gift is intended to influence the employee in the performance of their official duties or is intended as a reward for any official action on the individual's part. And so Attorney Heighton has said that conflict of interest exists between the two agencies and that she recommends not to attend the Christmas party. Basically, that what it comes down to.
Thank you.
To clarify, Mr. Chair, we've been in communication with the Division of Senior Citizens requesting for a copy of the memorandum of understanding so that the prosecutorial counsel can review what is the extent of their financial relationship. But without receiving that document, they just had to go on face value, that there is a monetary value to the contract. So the advice that we're issuing to the Division of Senior Citizens, again, should the commission adopt this opinion, would be not to attend, as this is considered a gift. They did not disclose when the party was. It could be after the fact, but again, that's ready to be issued should the commission adopt and concur with the recommendation. Yes, the team here is requesting for the commission to move and second the adoption of advisory opinion 23-003. And that will transmit that opinion to the requesting party.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adopt the advisory opinion 23003 as read and presented on record?
I'll go motion to adopt.
Can I get a second? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously to adopt advisory opinion 23003. Thank you. Five C, the biannual review and approval of commission policies. I'll turn the floor over one more time to our director.
It'll be a few more times, Mr. Chair. I apologize. But we did a review of the commission's policies that have been adopted and found that the policies were adopted in 2021. So it'd be prudent for us to do a review and modify said policies based on any changes in our statutes. And I'll start with the first policy adopted by the commission, which is the hiring and dismissal of the executive director and staff. So here you'll see the track changes for what it was. It originally was just the hiring and dismissal of the executive director. We've included admin staff as the statute, I believe it was Public Law 3627 had updated the commission's enabling legislation when they allowed the commission to be independent and autonomous. They included language as to the commission's authority to hire an executive director as well as staff. So we incorporated those changes. At the top, we decided to recommend to the commission. Originally, we were giving it a number based on the year and then followed by the number sequence. So if this was our first one, this was 2021-001. Our recommendation is to delete that and simply call it the GEF Policy 1. So as often as the commission updates the policy, at least it won't get confusing as to why that might be a different number series than some of the others that we're going to get through today. And as alluded to earlier, starting off with governance, we went ahead and included the other sections that were added into law, which is that the commission shall appoint an executive director who shall, and then it lists administer the laws under this chapter and all commission policies, manage the daily operations. So numbers B, 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as letter C, 1, 2, and 3, are all pulled direct from statute. And so we added that to show the commission has governance to make this policy.
Director, can we just capitalize the first words of each numbered item, please? In
Sure.
uniform with the remainder of the document?
Sure.
Thank you. Again, just housekeeping.
Yes, we'll take note of that. And then we move on to the applicability. So the only change here was because we added the word staff, we extended the sentence to say that the policy applies to the executive director who is an unclassified employee and staff, period, and that it shall contain the procedures for the recruitment and dismissal of said positions, and made that plural. Now to the policy, it was just the executive director. So I went ahead and added a new subheader, executive director, and what you see in black means that this was already adopted in policy. There's no changes there. Under hiring was our first change, which is in the event of a permanent vacancy, or rather, in the event a permanent vacancy occurs in the executive director position. So I added the word permanent because I've included a section for temporary absence and what would happen in the case that maybe I'm just on a leave of absence, then we could identify an acting director. But this is in the event a permanent vacancy occurs, then there shall be a search initiated by the commission and that the establishment of an ad hoc search committee for that director. And that is consistent, no changes there. The next change would occur at the last paragraph of that same page. It used to say a vote of no less than 5 commissioners at a publicly announced meeting is required to hire the director. Our law, the statute says 4 or more. And so it's a lower threshold. And to be consistent, the policy with the law, anytime we said no less than 5, I replaced it with 4 or more. So that's clear. The policy is not in conflict with the law. Since our policy was a higher standard, we couldn't set that. And then that occurred again for termination by the commission with cause. It says the commission by affirmative vote of 4 or more members may terminate the employment of the executive director for cause, and that everything else is consistent. Under resignation, it's highlighted 60 days because I just wanted to explore if that still wanted to be maintained or if that wanted to be amended. But I believe Vice Chair Taikenko said if the director ever wanted to resign, they'd have to give a minimum 60-day notice. Yes. That's days, but if there's, it was always 60 days. So just sharing that if that was for consideration. If not, then we'll move on to temporary absence of executive director. This whole section I just added. It says that the executive director may request for time off, which is subject to approval by the commission. If the leave request is made when the commission is not in session, the commission chairperson may review and grant the request on behalf of the commission. If a leave request is denied by the commission chairperson, that the director may present his or her leave request for consideration by the full commission at an open public meeting. When on leave status, the executive director shall designate a member of the staff to serve as an acting director for the duration of the temporary absence and shall ensure for detailed assignments exceeding 30 days, all reporting and compensation actions is processed in accordance with existing laws. So I believe there's an existing law that says if the acting appointment exceeds 30 days, we have to transmit notification to the Guam legislature. And then we also transmit a personnel action request because the acting director would receive compensation at the level of the director. Yes, at least at the base pay. Any questions on that particular section or any objections to including that? No? Okay. Performance evaluation, nothing changed in that section. And then commission staff is a new section. So we start off by saying that professional staff shall be recruited and maintained to support the commission and the executive director in effectively executing their duties and responsibilities. We begin with hiring. So I followed the same structure. When there's a vacancy in the executive director, the commission itself establishes an ad hoc search committee. And then the commission can decide who chairs that committee. For the staff, I wrote that, of course, with the concurrence of the commission, we can open a recruitment for a staff position and that the positions serve any of these appointments. And so they are temporary, limited term, unclassified, or probationary. These just define the length of the term. So if we hire an employee to be temporary, that's only for a period not to exceed 90 days. If it's limited term, it's a period not to exceed 1 year. Unclassified means there is no termination date until it's at will, until the decision by the commission to dismiss them. And the probationary would be for classified merit recruited employees. We wrote here that the executive director shall serve, or their designee shall serve as chair for the search committee. So similar to a search committee for the director, there'd be a search committee led by the director for the staff. But the commission members, as well as staff, are eligible to serve as part of that staff position search committee. I continue to say that the chairperson of the search committee is responsible for coordinating the posting of the job announcement, and that when the list of eligibles is established, coordinating with the other members when to conduct those interviews. When the interviews are completed, that the chairperson of the search committee compiles the notes from the search committee and then presents the recommendation to the executive director for action. The director has an option to accept and then make that appointment, or to reject, and that would force the committee to go back and solicit a new list of applicants and then do a second round of interviews. And then present again back to the director, this is our new recommendation. If the director selects from among the committee's recommendations, then the director can direct the staff to prepare the necessary recruitment forms for onboarding of the selected candidate. Dismissal of staff serving in the classified service will follow the personnel rules and regulations, while staff serving in temporary, limited term, or unclassified appointment may be dismissed at the discretion of the executive director with the concurrence of the commission. And then this keeps the effective date is effective upon approval, that there can be amendments made through affirmative vote of 4 or more members at a public meeting, and then the adoption. And then I left a note here at the bottom, which will continue, that every time we review and modify it, we'll just add a date when this is reviewed again. And then this is the first of the 7 policies we hope to get through today, but I'm open now for any discussion or comments on this particular policy, if you have any.
Commissioners, anything on this specific policy?
To answer that, Commissioner Languero, it does not need to specify because the commission can retain both the classified and unclassified staff member. So if we omit it, then it would depend, and it's actually clarified in the staff section when we talk about recruitment, where I'll highlight it here. The types of appointments. Here we go. Recruitment of staff positions may be for the following. Right, and then that will determine whether they're classified or unclassified. So other than probationary positions, the other position appointment types are unclassified or at-will hires. But excellent point.
I appreciate you mirroring the verbiage to the law. Obviously, that's critical and important. My question is, did our legal counsel review this policy and any
Yes,
proceeding policy?
yes, yes.
Okay, great. That on a housekeeping matter again, I imagine us to be compiling a policy library of sorts. So
Yes.
if I can recommend that we place as a footer the policy number followed by the name of the policy, and then dates, relevant dates, for example. I don't know if we need the establishment date, or we could just use the last revised date or
Yeah,
whatnot on the bottom.
definitely.
So that way it's easier, and the bottom of every page of the said policy, I think, would
Yeah.
be a little bit easier to track and maintain. So again, just for you guys, right?
Yes, yes. They are. In fact,
Yeah.
these existing policies are already on the website. So if the commission takes an action to adopt the modified version, we'll just write to our IT team to upload the latest one. And then I think that's easily incorporated on the actual document itself, but for the website, we could put after the policy number, policy name, and then
Okay.
the date.
Yeah.
That,
Okay.
yes.
Perfect. Can I get a motion to adopt the Guam Ethics Commission Policy 1, the hiring and dismissal of the executive director and staff as presented to the record? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously to adopt Guam Ethics Commission Policy 1, hiring and dismissal of the executive director and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm now going to go through the procurement policy and I'll share with you the changes here. So the changes to this particular policy is largely cosmetic. We made sure that the fonts and the styling is consistent for all the policies, so we made those modifications. But everything else, like the definitions and then the purchasing thresholds have remained the same as the laws haven't changed. We did eliminate a particular spending category. Ruben, it was called an open purchase. So open purchase was used in the initial policy. We've since replaced that with blanket purchase agreements to be consistent with the law, because the law doesn't reference an actual open purchase, but blanket purchase agreements are reflected. So that's the change that we indicated there. And so the commission is refreshed on how we purchase in the office. Anything that we can purchase through purchase order, we prioritize that. But if there's something that we simply just, they don't accept purchase orders and it's a small amount, then we would petty cash. A good example of what we use petty cash for is when we need to transmit our orders of dismissals via mail. So we'll go to USPS and we'll use petty cash because they don't accept government purchase orders at USPS. Blanket purchase agreements are like a charge account. So we would set an amount with a particular vendor. That could be a supply shop like National Office Supply or even Home Depot. And then we would just draw down the balance based on the particular supply that is needed by the office. Any amount that's, yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Any amount that is within 500 to 25,000, we can use small purchasing. That is the solicitation of 3 positive quotes, and we emphasize positive or affirmative quotes. If we solicit 3 and only 1 vendor responds, we cannot issue an award. We have to get all 3, or we can solicit 6 as long as we get 3 that respond. Then we can issue an award, and that tenders the purchase order, and then we would get the item and then cut a check afterwards through DOA. Yes, yes. And in fact, we have it on our SOPs, which is on the next item. So the policy sets for us what we're allowed to do, while the next section, which is the SOPs, is how we do what we do, which is who's the initiator, who's the reviewer, who's the certifier, etc. And then after any amount that exceeds 25,000, that's when we get into competitive sealed bidding. Now, there are occasions where we might opt to go towards a bid. So for example, this telephone and internet contract is less than $25,000, but as an office, we wanted to flex those procurement muscles so we don't gain atrophy. So we decided to go the hard way and put out an IFB to award our internet and telephone contract. So we're in active procurement for that. It doesn't exceed $25,000, but small purchases is an option for us, but we still wanted to use the IFB. I mean, IFB is technically the preferred way for government to procure services, so we thought, why not pursue that? But in the event that anything exceeds $25,000, we will go through IFB, and then the actual packet is reviewed by legal to ensure that we comply with all of the regulations within the Procurement Act. Everything's consistent, no other changes to the document. And so again, this is just cosmetic, keeping the fonts and sizes consistent with what was set by policy one. Yes, so request to approve policy number 2.
I'll second the motion to adopt policy.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries to adopt the Guam Ethics Commission Policy 2, the procurement policy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
The next policy is GEF policy 3 concerning ethics complaint procedures. And again, this policy was one which was modified to reflect our current process and any changes in our statute. So applicability and jurisdiction, there were no changes. But when we get into the steps for how the complaint is compiled and sent to the commission, there was some adjustments to be completely clear and consistent with what is the current practice of the commission. So step 1, of course, is our intake appointment where the complainant meets with the staff and that staff review said complaint form thoroughly to go over specific sections inclusive of the prohibition of sharing information, so the maintaining of confidentiality, as well as prohibition on filing frivolous complaints. After the complainant has acknowledged an understanding of the commission's application form, they are asked to sign and tender in any supporting evidence. If there are no amendments, then the commission staff countersigns the application and initiates the review process. Step 2 is preparing the case file. So within 5 business days, the staff will prepare a case file and itemizes what should be included in the case file, which is a summary of the complaint, a manuscript of the complaint, all the documents or evidence that were furnished by the complainant, notices or subpoenas, detailed timeline of the case process, etc. When the case file is complete, that's sent to prosecutorial counsel for review. So this is the one where we're being clear of what happens after the case file is done. I or my designee will compile the complete complaint file and then give that to prosecutorial counsel for their review. After that review is concluded, then it makes it on the agenda for the first review of the complaint by the commission. So at each commission meeting, the director will prepare a review of the cases within the published meeting agenda, and the commission shall have the opportunity to review and discuss the cases in a closed proceeding in accordance with 4 GCA 15-401. The commission staff shall prepare draft commission orders to effectuate the action the commission takes on each case. So again, you're seeing that match up with what we currently put into practice. Following the first review, the commission issues an order to proceed. Then an informal advisory opinion is issued notifying in writing the person who's accused of wrongdoing and is asked or given that opportunity to explain or provide a response as to their conduct. And then the commission may investigate after compliance with this section charges and render an informal advisory opinion to the alleged violator. We maintain the confidentiality of the cases, and then that concludes the first part of what happens when you file a case. The second part, no changes, pertain to when the commission conducts a formal hearing. The commission has never gotten a case to that point yet, but again, we're maintaining the same requirements that are found in our statute, meaning if we do conduct a hearing, there are days in which both the complainant and the commission are obligated to send and receive responses, which is 20 days. So we maintain that. It's in the law. It's in the law. Yeah, so we're just following or we're mirroring what's currently in statute. We fortunately haven't gone to the formal hearing yet, but we imagine we'll explore that, I suppose, when when we get there. Part 3 discusses what outcomes arrive from complaints, and again, nothing's changed here. We do create summary of opinions and we publish that. So our first edition was published in March of this year. For possible criminal violations, those are referred to the Office of the Attorney General. For violations caused by a former employee, the commission at its discretion by vote could decide to make public this case. So if it's a former employee and there was wrongdoing, we can announce through a vote of the commission what had occurred. Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. So we'll do that for this case. Good eye. I think we gave six cases. Yeah. No. I can confer counsel and provide guidance to the commission. Yes, yes. You're exploiting my desire to please the vice chair. I understand now why we put 5. You're correct. I recognize now why we sustained the 5 it's because a vote of 5 is required for cases, while any other action is required. Right. Operational questions, anything not pertaining to cases is a vote of 4, simple majority. Anything pertaining to cases would require a stronger majority, which is 5. Yeah. And thank you. And then so essentially that's the possible outcomes. So we obviously publish all of the summaries. If it's criminal, it goes to the AG. If the employee no longer works with Guam, the commission has discretion to make public the case and the facts concerning the case. If it is involving a current employee, we can refer the packet, the full investigation to that agency head for them to take the appropriate action against the employee. And then the effective date and amendments. That's right. It's at their discretion to pursue and prepare the appropriate adverse action against their employee. Because that employee falls under their department. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. But those are all the changes to this. Mhm. Any questions? Yeah, and we included headers so it's easy for the reader to understand each main section, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Perfect.